most of us watched the NFL draft this past weekend to see who the Buffalo Bills would be adding to the roster. But there was also a lot riding on how well Green Bay would perform as a host city. Because like Buffalo, it's a small market taking on a very big sporting event. And by all accounts, it was a huge success. The league estimates some 600,000 fans attended the draft, more than doubling some predictions. It'll be a while before we get the full economic impact report, but one estimate has put it at almost $100 million statewide. And over the course of the three-day event, there were only 1 arrest and 8 ejections.
Have it come off, the way it did was just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So leaders with the Bills hope to follow Green Bay's lead and get the NFL draft in 2028 or 2029.
That Buffalo would be a very unique market for a draft. The NFL agrees. So we're making sure there's no stone unturned. And if we can host that draft in 28 or 29, we're going for it.
Brad Toll is president and CEO of Discover Green Bay, and he joins us live. He was one of the key players in securing the NFL draft for the city of Green Bay, and now I hope getting some much-needed rest, because I know how crazy it's been for you, Brad. You told me via email when I asked you if you would come on the show that you think Buffalo would be a great host city for the NFL draft. With what you've learned there in Green Bay over the past however long it's taken you to get ready for this past weekend's draft, what tells you Buffalo would also be a good host?
Well, I think, there are similarities between Green Bay and Buffalo. There's a lot of history with the team, and, being able to tell your story, I think, is one of the best parts of hosting the draft. The NFL really wants it to be that community's draft. So they look for ways to share the community. We were joking about cheese curds. I'm sure there'll be some buffalo wings that are consumed. So people really, when they leave, they have a feel for who the community is, who the people are. And I'll tell you, our community was beaming with pride seeing the crowds turn out the way they did, and everything just went brilliantly throughout the entire three-day period. We couldn't be more proud.
I talked about the economic impact report that you will get in, a month, 2 months out. But we know there were so many eyeballs on Green Bay and people talking about Green Bay, because it turns out this was the second most watched NFL draft in history in terms of the television audience, second only to during the pandemic when, all we could do was sit around and watch television. As someone who I know you work in the tourism industry and in development, you can't buy exposure like that.
The numbers are incredible. We were just looking this morning, just Discover Green Bay, not Draft or Packers or anything. Just Discover Green Bay's brand was mentioned 746 times. 4.3 billion impressions would have cost us $40 million to buy that recognition. I can't even imagine what the numbers are going to be for the draft when we're done. 55 million people was the estimate going in that would watch the draft. 600,000 people, that was pretty much where Nashville was, and we couldn't imagine we could get to that number. And, the drive market, Buffalo is also perfectly positioned in a drive market. Detroit, Cleveland, there's cities in your area with franchises. And we know about 65% typically drive to the draft. So for us, the Vikings, the Bears, the Lions, Indianapolis, it makes a big difference. I think Buffalo will draw the same number. Maybe just a few less.
You hope a few fewer. So obviously Buffalo is going for the draft in 2028 or 2029. So over the next couple of years, they'll really be making their pitch. As leaders, not just with the Bills, but also your counterparts here in Buffalo are trying to sell this region. What is your advice to them and how they can best go about securing the NFL draft?
We really looked at how we could take the Packer traditions, our football bloodline or whatever you call it in our community, how you can really play that up and take it out there and pitch. One of the best examples during training camp, we have a thing where Packer players ride bikes, and they ride the bikes of kids in the community that, bring them over to the stadium. And that bike tradition goes back to the Vince Lombardi days. And Roger got one of those bikes, all wrapped in Packer things. We really played that tradition up, and the NFL loved it. We had a bike parade actually on Saturday morning as part of the draft. So we brought that forward. But, what makes Buffalo Buffalo? What makes it different than all the other cities? That's what needs to come forward, and how you'll share that with their fans when they're in your community.
Play off the Bills Mafia. That's the winning strategy. Brad Toll is President and CEO of Discover Green Bay. Congratulations on a successful draft. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Good luck. You'll kill it as well.
Thank you so much.